So here we have question number 8 from the same paper, A Level Maths 9709, October November 2021, paper 1 variant 2. Now we have question number 8 and the topic is binomial expansion. This question is worth 8 marks. So it is given that in the expansion of 4 plus 2x multiplied by 2 minus ax whole thing raised to the power 5, the coefficient of x square is negative 15. Find the possible values of a. All right, so 4 plus 2x is multiplied by 2 minus ax whole thing raised to the power 5. We just need to first consider this expansion 2 minus ax whole thing raised to the power 5. What we know the fact is that we don't need to completely expand it, because if you expand it, you will get 6 terms, 5 plus 1 terms, okay? What you can see that in order to find a term in x square in this complete expansion, this constant term 4 will be multiplied with a term in x square in this expansion, and this 2x will be multiplied with a term in x in this expansion, such that when you simplify them, you will get the term in x square, and the coefficient of x square is minus 15. So what we actually need to do, we need to find the term in x and x square in the expansion of 2 minus ax whole thing raised to the power 5, which will obviously come in terms of a, because a is unknown. We need to find the term in x and x square in this expansion. We don't need to completely expand it, nor we are required to do so. So since you know the fact that the first term is not 1, it is other than 1. So formula for finding the specific term is PR plus 1 is equals to NCR multiplied by A raised to the power N minus R multiplied by B raised to the power R. So 5CR multiplied by 2 raised to the power 5 minus R multiplied by minus AX whole thing is raised to the power R. Okay, this is 2. So first we need to find the term in x and then the term in x square. We are not interested in this 5CR right now, nor we are interested in 2 raised to the power 5 minus R, nor we are interested in minus A raised to the power R. We are just interested in x raised to the power R. And our first requirement would be to find the term in x. This means that x raised to the power R will be compared with x raised to the power 1. So therefore R is equals to 1. And then secondly, x raised to the power R will be compared with x square. Therefore R is equals to 2. Now what we just need to do is put the values of R is equals to 1 and R is equals to 2 into this formula, so that we would be able to find the terms in x and x square, which would be in terms of a. So first of all, let's put R is equals to 1. So 5C1 multiplied by 2 raised to the power 5 minus 1, which means that 2 raised to the power 4 multiplied by minus AX whole thing raised to the power 1. So 5 multiplied by 2 raised to the power 4, this is 80, and 80 is multiplied by minus A and then X. So this is minus 80 AX. This is the term in X. And for term in X square, we need to put R equals to 2. So 5C2 multiplied by 2 raised to the power 5 minus 2, which is 2 raised to the power 3, multiplied by minus AX, the whole thing is square. So 5C2 multiplied by 2 cube, this is 80, and 80 multiplied by minus AX, the whole thing square, which means that 80A square X square. Okay. So now you know what to do next. 4 plus 2x multiplied by 2 minus x whole thing raised to the power 5. Okay, so we are just interested in x and x square terms of the expansion of 2 minus ax whole thing raised to the power 5. So 4 plus 2x will be multiplied by, first I'm going to write the term in x, which is minus 80ax, and then the next term would be definitely since after r is equals to 1 you get r is equals to 2. That's why I'm not making any dotted lines in between these two terms. So plus 80a square x square. Okay, now in order to get the term in x square in this whole expansion, this 4 will be multiplied by 80a square x square, which means that 320a square x square, and this 2x will be multiplied by minus 80ax, which will be minus 160a x square. And the coefficient of x square is minus 15, so the term in x square is minus 15x square. Now what we need to do is just equate the coefficients. So therefore 320a square minus 160a is equals to minus 15. So now we have actually obtained a quadratic equation in terms of a, which is 320a square minus 160a plus 15 equals to 0. If we divide all of these three terms by 5, so we have 64a square and then minus 32a and then plus 3, and this is equal to 0. So if we just apply the quadratic formula now, a is equals to, zoom in karke, I'm zooming in, a is equals to minus 32 plus minus under root of minus 32 squared minus 4 times 64 times 3 and then divided by 2 times 64. Okay, so a equals, I'm continuing it over here, a equals 32 plus minus under root of minus 32 squared minus 4 times 64 times 3. This is 256, so under root of 256 is actually 16. So 32 plus minus 16 divided by 128. So one possible value of a, I'm writing it over here at the top. One possible value of a is 32 plus 16 divided by 128, which is 3 over 8. And the other possible value of a is 32 minus 16 and then divided by 128. This is 1 over 8. These are the two possible values of a, and this part was worth 4 marks. A is equals to 3 over 8 or a is equals to 1 over 8. Then we have part B. Part B is saying that it is given instead that in the expansion of 4 plus 2x multiplied by 2 minus ax whole thing raised to the power 5, the coefficient of x square is k. Now the coefficient of x square is not minus 15, okay? Instead it is k. It is also given that there is only one value of a which leads to this value of k. Find the values of k in a. All right, so first of all, what you know is that the coefficient of x square in the expansion of 4 plus 2x multiplied by 2 minus ax whole thing raised to the power 5, the coefficient of x square in terms of a is actually this. The coefficient of x square is actually 320, this thing, 320a square minus 160a. Now this 320a square minus 160a is actually equals to k, where k is unknown. Now what do they actually mean by this thing? That it is given that there is only one value of a which leads to the value of k. Now let's just take help of your concepts of quadratics and your knowledge of graph. Let's just make things simpler. Let's assume that since a is a variable, right, I'm taking x in place of a. So 320x square minus 160x equals to k. Now here you have a quadratic graph of 320x square minus 160x, and on the other hand side, on the right hand side of the equation, you have a constant term. So this means that the equation of y is equals to k, a horizontal line will be equated to the quadratic graph. Let's make a quadratic graph sketch. Now if you factorize this equation, 320 x square minus 160x equals to 0. If you want to just sketch the quadratic graph over here, what you are going to do, take x common, multiply by 320x minus 160. So this means that this graph passes through the origin x is equal to 0 or x is equal to 160 over 320, which means that x is equal to half. this graph passes through the origin and x is equals to half. And since we can see that the coefficient of x square is greater than 0, this is a U-shaped graph, minimum turning point quadratic graph. Now there must be only one value of a. Okay, so now just forget this x, just put a instead over here. These are the values of a. Okay, and here you have y is equals to k line. So you need only one value of k. There is only one value of k which leads to this value of k. So obviously the line y is equals to k will be a tangent to this quadratic graph. And this definitely implies the fact that the value of k which we are going to find out right now, the value of k will be negative. If k would have been positive, there would have been two distinct values of k. And this also implies the fact that the value of k which we are going to find out right now is going to be less than minus 15, because when k was equals to minus 15, you had two distinct values of a. So the value of k which we are going to find right now is definitely going to be less than minus 15. Okay, so when the horizontal line is tangent to this quadratic graph, the roots are real and equal. B square minus 4ac would be equals to 0. Okay, so here you have a quadratic equation in terms of a 320a square minus 160a minus k is equal to 0, where a is basically the variable over here. Okay, so if you compare it with the general form of the quadratic equation ax square plus bx plus c, so there you can say that a is equals to 320, b is equals to minus 160, and c is equals to negative k. Since this horizontal line y is equals to k is tangent to this quadratic graph, this means that b square minus 4ac is equal to 0. The discriminant is equal to 0. The roots are real and equal. So b square minus 4ac will be equal to 0. This means that b square is equals to 4ac. Okay, and this means that minus 160 the whole square is equals to 4 times 320 times negative k. So minus 160 squared, this is 25,600. I'm just going to write it like this. Okay, k is equals to 25,600 divided by minus 4 times 320. Definitely k value is supposed to be negative, as we have seen. 25,600 divided by minus 4 times 320. The value of k is minus 20. I've already told you that the value of k would be negative and it would be less than minus 15, because if value of k would have been minus 15, there would have been two distinct values of a, as you have seen in part 1. So the value of k is negative 20. Now what we need to do is we need to just find the value of a. So in order to find the value of a, you have obtained a quadratic equation in terms of a, right, which is 320a square minus 160a minus k is equal to 0. And since k is itself negative 20, so plus 20 is equals to 0. Okay, so all of these terms can be divided by 20. So simplify this equation. 16a square minus 8a plus 1 is equal to 0. So if you want to factorize it, 16 times 1, 16, and this sign tells us that you have to add the factors. Okay, and the factors of 4 and 4, so minus 4a minus 4a. You just factorize it. 16a square minus 4a minus 4a plus 1 is equal to 0. Taking 4a as common multiplied by 4a minus 1, taking minus 1 as common multiplied by 4a minus 1, and this whole thing is equal to 0. Therefore 4a minus 1 times 4a minus 1 is equal to 0, which means that 4a minus 1 is a repeated linear factor. So a is equal to 1 over 4 is a repeated root. So 4a minus 1 the whole thing square is equal to 0. Therefore a is equals to 1 over 4. So for this value of a, which is 1 over 4, the value of k is negative 20. This is supposed to be your final answer, and this was question number 8. Part B.